Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back or to the channel. Today, I just finished doing an EGR delete on my track. So you can see, we got some weight reduction sitting on the floor. A lot more open space underneath the hood. Got these from Dirty Diesel Customs. And yeah, I haven't put it all together yet because I am actually going to be installing my S&S Diesel CP4 disaster kit. There's the instructions. Gonna need those for sure. This kit, I kind of looked at it a bit. From first glance, this kit looks pretty well set up, like really nice hardware. I can't believe how nice this hardware is. Really nice machine parts. Donaldson filter. Yeah, get to tearing this apart. I know we got to take this here plastic upper intake manifold off, I think they call it. We got to take that off first. Lots of stuff to pull off, but we'll get right into it. The first step, if you're not in the state that I am, you'll want to remove your intake. Okay guys, for starters, we will want to remove the plastic intake and this hot side intercooler pipe. I believe there's, I don't know if there's like 15 bolts take off on this plastic intake. Some of them will be hard to get to. I will warn you about that. I started this job once before, but I was like, I'll wait until I have more time to do it because it seems like a pretty extensive job. So now we're gonna start it now since half the truck engine bay is already torn apart. So makes it a lot easier to do it that way. You've got the plastic upper intake manifold off. There was 15 bolts. Also held the oil dipstick into position and took the lower cast intake manifold off as well. Your crankcase vent, you'll have to unhook that as well. You can see that turbo, it really opens up the engine bay. Hot side intercooler pipe is off too. Got rags in the ports so you don't get any dirt or dust in there. Side of the turbo, just by the crankcase vent filter, is where your fuel bowl was, and I think there's 3 bolts holding it down, which one is pretty hard to get to because it is underneath the fuel line, so you'll just have to be careful and pry the fuel line away a bit, and eventually you'll get her out. Just in front of our turbo is where our CP4 injection pump is located. You can see there's lots of soot in my intake manifold. This is just from many miles with the exhaust gas recirculating through the intake manifold back into the engine. This is normal. Okay guys, so what I did was I sprayed a bunch of brake clean in both of these sides here. I'll go back and spray it on the whole lower intake. Wanted to buy a piping kit, but 2,500 Canadian dollars, I didn't want to bite the bullet just yet. That'd be super easy to put back together and you have way more space in the engine, but this will do for now. I'll pressure wash it. Get it all nice and clean and put it back. Looks like after pressure washing it, spraying with brake clean, scrubbing it with gasoline in a brush, and it cleaned up actually quite nicely. I'm impressed. This here sits on top of the CP4 injection pump, and it's got a screen type of filter on it, and I believe this filters the fuel as it goes to the injectors. There's still possibility of the metal shavings to go past this screen, and when the metal shavings do go past that screen, then you need to replace your whole fuel system. This here's location on top of the CP4 where that filter sits in. As you can see, there's an inlet and an outlet in there, and you do not want any debris to get in there, otherwise that could harm your injection pump. So what I did was I put a little cap on top to prevent debris from falling in. New O-rings for our S&S hardware. A factory CP4 pre-filter on our S&S hardware now. Got the upper intake manifold all cleaned up and slowly putting everything back together on the engine, and that's what it looks like there. Got the hose sticking out from the CP4 installed. We just installed our upper intake manifold, and all the bolts are torqued to 89 inch-pounds, and now we just gotta flip that dipstick back as it should go, and it put it on top of there and a nut. Then there's also a bracket on the back that we got to put a bolt in. Then we can put our fuel bowl back in, and then connect all of our fuel lines and connect all the wires. We're so close. Put the intake on too. No, a whole lot left. So you can see the only part left. 4 bolts, and this for the dipstick brackets. We deleted this for your hose. And we got these other hoses put on, but throttle body back on. I cleaned it up as well. Now that we've got our fuel bowl back in, we have now started installing the filter attachment plate. That's what I'll call it. So what we had to do is we had to install these rubber bushings, kind of like a little flexible shock absorbing mount, this bracket, and these nuts. I believe there's a torque stack for those nuts, which we will probably follow, because why not? This is where our filter will screw onto. And what we did was we pried off this part of the cowl. There's these 3 clips and 2 clips right there and there. And if you can see this little clip here, we're gonna have to take that out and use the hardware they supplied to put this here where that clip is. Here we will want to install the O-rings they supplied us on these fittings for the Donaldson filter bracket. Do not roll them on because you could tear them or they might not seal. So you'll want to just use a pick or something and go around the fitting. It's work its way on. We're just gonna, these fittings are super nice. So light as they're aluminum. And these are 120 inch pounds. Deep 15. Okay. This using legs here. This will take a 7/16 wrench to tighten these, I guess, as it says in the instructions. I recommend you keep this here cover on until it's time to install. As you can see, she's mounted there. I can now push this back down. And all is well. Perfect. This, I don't know, that clip might have broke. We'll find out at some point. But for now, we gotta get all these other lines routed up in here. So I unhooked this fitting from the factory Ford hard line right here. You can see that end of the fitting. And it's facing down, but you have to rotate it 180 degrees. It's a little stiff at first, but trust me, she'll move. Be gentle because it might be fragile and you can break it. But we got her spun around, and that's where we're gonna put one of our S&S lines. This one here, it's gonna clip in there. I'm gonna blow these out, just be safe. Make sure there's no crap in them. I'm sure there isn't, but how sensitive these CP4s are. Trust me, you don't want to take any chances. They send you these nice little zip tie clamp type of things. So your hoses, you can tie your hoses up so they don't rub. That's nice. You can tell, like, wow, I'm super impressed with this S&S, these instructions here that they come with, and all the hardware. You can tell they really try to make it as easy as possible for someone, just so like anyone can install this, the CP4 disaster kit for sure. I'm gonna tie up some of these lines and I'll get back here. Okay guys, we got everything buttoned up on the truck, and we got some new cab lights. But we got it all buttoned up. We're just gonna cycle it a few times so that the lift pump will fill our fuel filter, our fuel bowl with fuel. and our filter here, and all the lines. And let it cycle for about 30 seconds and then click the button and do it. I don't know, just to be safe, I'm gonna do it a few times. Because I definitely would not want to have a failed CP4 right after I did this, because well, what would have been the point in doing it then? Water. Yeah. Can you hear it filling the fuel bowl? I've not drove my truck in a few days because I've been busy. Well, first I did the cab lights. It didn't have factory cab lights, so I had to drill into the roof and wire it. And then I did the EGR delete. And then I did the CP4 disaster kit. I would really like a piping kit at some point, because holy crap, does that just clean up this engine bay. It's crazy. I'll show you guys what we did here with the hoses. Okay, so this here one comes off your hard line from the engine, from the truck. This one here connects to that line that you disconnected from the hard line back that way. You can see it probably right there. The one you had to turn 180 degrees. And this one goes around the back and is connected right there. They give you some ties there. Overall, I'm extremely impressed with the kit, mostly because of all the awesome hardware it came with. It came with those zip ties to, like, you know, zip tie around the line and strap your hose up so it doesn't rub. A lot of nice machined hardware, really high quality hoses and quick connect fittings, just like the factory ones. And the instructions were phenomenal. They got these pictures in them, torque specs, excellent wording. It's really, no complaints with the S&S diesel CP4 disaster kit. Other than it, I don't know, it was a decent sized job. Really, the only pain in the butt was taking the fuel bowl out. There's a hard line there, I didn't show it. But the bolt is underneath the hard line. So I'd make sure you get a universal 8mm. Maybe that you could get it, but I just used a wrench and then used angled needle nose pliers right here and slowly twisted it. Then I pried up on the fuel lines right there a bit, just to get enough. Get the bolt out. So that's what I did. There's maybe a better way, but just can't get over how good that looks. I love it. Looks good. I do recommend clean your upper and lower intake. Really good. That was absolutely disgusting. Like, I cannot believe how much soot was in there. There's some of it. That's about a quarter of it. That's just from the upper intake. And that's not even the one that gets all of the soot first, so you guys can only imagine. I guess you've seen it. Yeah, this line comes off your hard line, the one closest to the cab that runs parallel with the windshield. This one, you take this factory line off and it's junk. You can do whatever you want. You can break it, you can throw it out, you can keep it. I don't really care. I'll probably keep mine. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. If I did forget something, I'll try to go through and leave in the comments or something. But anyways, appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'm sure I'll be back with some more in the near future. So thanks, guys. See, the truck is running good. Got her topped up with antifreeze from the EGR delete. And tires do. Goes on. No wrench. Like when I first started up, I had a wrench from, I guess, guys say from disconnecting the batteries, you may get a wrench. But yeah, she's gone now.